Welcome to the Drop the Needle podcast, your backstage pass to the corporate jungle. I'm your host, Jim Allstott, and here, industry titans step up to the mic, sharing their epic journeys. We're hitting the high notes and the low notes of their careers, creating a symphony of success. This isn't just another interview show, it's where truth bombs are dropped and secrets are revealed. So grab your conductor's baton because who knows, this just might help you compose the next huge hit of your career. Are you ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Drop the Needle podcast. I am your host, Jim Allstott, and I'm so happy you all decided to join us. In today's episode, we are very fortunate to have as our guest Ms. Mandy Pullen Barr. Mandy's been a driving force within the Vesta organization for the past 5 years. Her journey began as a member of the marketing team, where she worked to raise awareness of Vesta's valuable programs. As she witnessed the incredible impact of the Vesta's coaches on individuals and their families going through divorce, the impact from that is actually what fueled Mandy's desire to participate in the Clarity Catalyst program. Well, Mandy experienced an incredible breakthrough, a personal breakthrough, that is really what fueled her desire to become a trainer. Since that time, Mandy has assumed a leadership position as a strategic managing partner for Vesta, and that is to expand their reach nationwide. Friends, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Ms. Mandy Pullen Barr.
Aw, thanks, Jim.
Well, thanks for showing up today, Mandy. Well,
Absolutely.
As most of you know by now, there are 4 pillars to our show. And pillar 2 is involving mindset transformation, self-care, and healthcare. And what I realized is sometimes in our pursuit of success, money, promotion, or career growth, the people that we're closest to are the ones that are left to pick up the pieces that are left in our wake. And oftentimes, the stresses that we feel and the pressures that we feel that accompany our pursuit for success really take a toll on our families and our relationships. And fortunately or unfortunately, there are times when we try to make things work and it just doesn't. Or maybe we get completely blindsided by the announcement from our spouse that they want a divorce because they don't feel as though they're a priority any longer, as our careers have taken center stage, leaving no room for anything else. All of this leaves us feeling lost, stunned, and unsure of what the next steps might be. Well, this is where I'd like to dive in with the questions for you, Mandy, if you're ready. Okay.
I'm ready.
So, first of all, Vesta is a very interesting name. What does Vesta mean?
So, well, the full name is Vesta, A New Vision for Divorce. But the word Vesta, which is kind of what makes people go, how is that connected to divorce? It is the Roman goddess of hearth and home. And we figured what gets disrupted during a divorce? Your home life, and trying to create a new vision for what your home life is going to be.
Very cool. I guess that's very appropriate too, right? Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Vesta is and what Vesta does, if you don't mind?
Sure. So Vesta is an organization that was founded on the idea that when people are educated about complex situations such as divorce, they're able to make decisions from a place of empowerment rather than fear and emotion. And we have professionals in a variety of different spaces who provide the education to those that find our organization through a series of webinars or in-person events.
Great. I'm curious now to know what the inspiration behind Vesta was.
Yeah, so Vesta was founded by 3 individuals, 2 of whom went through their own very expensive and contentious divorce. where they really relied on their attorney for everything, for their emotional support, for their financial guidance on what to do with the home. And, hundreds and thousands of dollars later between the two of them, they were left wondering, what the heck did we do? And how can people do this better? How can we help people get to the other side in a less expensive,
Gotcha.
less contentious way? And the third founder, she was a child of divorce, and she saw her parents really struggling on the other side of it, how to make ends meet, how to navigate this co-parenting space. So the three of them together decided that they needed to change the
Okay, so
landscape
then
of
what was
divorce.
your why to join that group?
So my why, I I was in contract food service management for about 20 something years, and I felt very, very burnt out. It was a very toxic environment. And Deanna Coyle, who's a mutual
Right.
friend of ours and one of the co-founders for Vesta, found herself in a place where she was wearing far too many hats and the organization was growing and they needed assistance in the marketing department. And that was, helping put on events. And even though it's not food service, there was enough transferable skills that I jumped on. And then before you knew it, I realized, oh my gosh, I can help people make better decisions through my role within the organization. And that made me feel just
Yeah.
like I was giving back to
So it sounds
a
like that was
community in
really your
need.
why, is that the position of service and
Absolutely.
trying to help as many people as you can. Because as if anybody's gone through divorce or at this point, maybe they're grown and they were children of divorce, they know it can be painful. It doesn't really matter
Mm.
what age you think that you can handle it and everything's fine because you're mature in your thought process. Well, it does take a toll on you in some form or fashion. No doubt.
Ab-
No doubt.
Absolutely. And I went through my own
Okay.
divorce as well. And Vesta did not
Ah,
exist when I went
right.
through my own divorce. So there were a lot of decisions that I made that were not based on understanding the process and
Sure.
what was best for me. So that continues to be the fuel
I
that
think that that's
keeps
probably
me
true
going.
for a lot of people, that in hindsight's always 2020, right? So this is the first time that I had ever heard of a business or an organization like
Mhm.
Vesta. Is Vesta the only one that's doing this?
We are the only one that's doing it to this level. There are other organizations online, forums, meetup groups, that sort of thing. But we are really an all encompassing
Okay.
organization, from our events to our professionals
Oh,
to our
okay. So
concierge
we'll talk about
service
that because
to.
I'm kind of curious about that because I read about the concierge service. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. It's actually very funny when I talk to people. I say, well, to be a member of the concierge team, you had to have gone through your own divorce. And people
Mm,
are somewhat surprised that that's one of the job requirements. But how else are you going to empathize
right.
and really be able to understand what someone is going through, from the emotional toll that it takes on you to the guilt that someone may feel, to the financial concerns that you may have, to not understanding what process to take. And while none of us are legal professionals, we certainly understand enough to be able to guide people to what their next steps are. And a lot of times we'll create a roadmap for individuals that are
Okay.
just beginning the process. Sometimes it's just listening to them because they, feel overwhelmed and they need to take things one step at a time. We really tell people that it's their divorce. They get to drive the
Sure.
car. We're just their
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
co-pilots, if you will.
So I'm curious with that. So you said you in order to be a concierge a person that's a concierge, I guess that's what you call it, right? Is concierge is the title. You have to have gone through a divorce. And I understand from the standpoint of being able to empathize and understand and relate and things of that nature. But I guess I'd like to know, is divorce the only option people have when they call you?
Absolutely not, Jim. We do not
Okay.
advocate for divorce, but if people have decided that divorce is this next step in their relationship, then we want to
Sure.
help them get there in the most cost-effective way possible with keeping the relationship as intact as can be, so that, especially if
Right.
there's children involved, that they're able to begin their co-parenting relationship from a place of at least neutrality or compassion for one another rather than this
Well,
place of
yeah, because it's,
animosity.
divorce is an emotional experience and process. But you could understand why I'm asking that question, though, right? Because I mean, obviously, if that's
Of course.
your business, uh, I guess you look at it from the standpoint that why wouldn't you promote that? Hey, yeah, we're going to get paid if you use this service. So I say you get divorced. You know what I mean?
Mm. No, of course, of course. And we have many of our coaches and therapists, their wheelhouse, their zone of genius, if you will, is trying to
Okay.
repair that relationship and helping people truly discern if that is the next best step for them, whether it be doing couples therapy, individual
Okay.
therapy, or
Okay.
coaching as a
So that's
couple.
good. And I guess the next logical question is what you mentioned a couple of different titles or functions. Why don't you lay out what the professionals are in your organization and what, I guess, everything that you have. Let's hear the menu that Vesta has to offer.
Yeah. Right. Yes, yes, you can choose. And that's one of the things that is so important to understand is that even though we have all these professionals that have been highly vetted, it not everyone is going to resonate with you, or you're not going to need every person within our
Mhm.
organization. But to begin with, we of course have the legal side of the business, which consists of having your traditional litigating attorneys. We have mediators and we have collaborative attorneys, depending upon which process couples decide to go down. And we always try, if they have decided that divorce is the right way to go for them, we do try to steer families going towards the mediation route. And you can always level up if it doesn't
Okay.
work in mediation. But even very high conflict situations with a good mediator
So
can be
I guess
resolved.
for those that aren't familiar, and I've gone through divorce, so I'll speak as when we're going through this from my own personal experience, not from anybody else's, in some of these questions that I'm asking or
Mm.
comments that I'm making. Now, I heard mention that, using a mediator is a very a more friendly or effective way to go through that. So, what is a mediator's job, really?
Their job is to be a neutral. So it's really to hear both sides of the, story, if you will, and to try to help couples come to a mutual agreement. Whenever possible, we do encourage folks to have what we call consulting attorneys. And those are the folks that can actually give you legal advice and help you understand what your rights
Okay.
are as you go through the
Okay.
process. In addition, these consulting attorneys can review the document once it's drafted and make sure that you're signing something that is, going to be advantageous towards your future.
Okay. So, you had mentioned the mediator and then the consulting attorney. What other positions or professionals are involved with Vesta's organization that could help your client?
Absolutely. So the next section of the company would fall under the financial arm, and that would consist of people that are financial advisors, but specifically people that have the accreditation of certified divorced financial analyst. And there's
And now there
somebody
was
that
such a
really
thing.
understands.
That's something.
There is, because you only get one shot at dividing out your
Right.
assets in a divorce. And it's not something that you want to take lightly, especially if it's a long-term marriage. We're seeing more and more families where couples are getting divorced in their,
Wow.
60s and so on, and have been married for 20 plus years. And, it's really important to have an understanding, because not all assets
No,
are
right. That
created
and
equal.
that makes sense. And that's
Yeah.
interesting. I also think it's seems to be fairly common these days that people are waiting and getting married a little bit later. So that would stand to reason then that they be a little bit older too. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And then also under the financial arm of the business, if you will, is we have
Ah,
forensic accountants, because sometimes people may hide money, or there may be not things happening that may not be on the up and up. So we have, some group of people that focus on that. We have folks that do business evaluation for those entrepreneurs that have decided that divorce is the right option for them to have their business, because that is something that has to get, divided out or appraised, if you will, during the divorce process. And then, of course, your people that do your
sure.
taxes every year and helping you
Tax
understand,
ramifications that are
that
involved with
piece of
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
there's a many.
Especially, this time of year, by the way, we're in April of 2024. So we just passed tax day a week ago. And yeah, so yeah, good timing, I guess. So the thing that I guess I don't know that I hit what I wanted to hit enough as it relates to starting this whole thing out, and maybe the need for your service in that whole surprise of, and sometimes it's not a surprise, and sometimes people just grow apart, right? And they're trying to do it in I hate to say humane way, but a more human, empathetic way. And it seems like what your organization does is sometimes, or at least from what I'm hearing, is takes as much of the emotion out and the pain out of it, so it allows someone to think clearly about next steps, right? And I guess one of the questions, obviously that's where we met, was the Clarity Catalyst, and not everybody knows that. The Clarity Catalyst program through Jennifer Grace, is that where you realize that, hey, seeking some clarity or finding some clarity and some
Mhm.
tools, techniques, is that where you realize that, hey, this is something I should entertain and I should do?
Yeah, so that actually brings us to the third part of our business, which is really focusing on the emotional part. And I really should have said it in a different order. I should have
Or at
said
least
the emotional
faster.
part first.
Jeez. The sands through the
or
hourglass.
or you
I'm teasing you.
Oh,
Yes,
these are the
yes.
days. My mom and I watched.
Oh,
My mom
nice,
and I
nice.
watched that. It was torture. But anyways, so the emotional part of our organization really should have been what I started with, rather than the legal part, because in a perfect world, if someone is questioning, should I stay or should I
Great song,
go,
by the way.
is really the perfect is really the first it should be the first step, working with a coach that can help you tweeze out whether, working on your marriage or pursuing a divorce or separation is
Sure.
the best course of action. And if you do decide that divorce is the best course of action, working with a coach or a therapist can really help you have the kindest delivery of this information rather than it coming out in some sort of
Right.
heated
In court.
argument
Yeah.
one day. I
Yeah.
want a
Yeah.
divorce,
Yeah. That's
right?
that's not good.
Uh, yeah. So going back to the Clarity Catalyst piece, through watching the coaches and the amazing work that they did in terms of helping people have breakthroughs, I decided to sign up to take the Clarity Catalyst course with dear friend Claire. And while I was taking her course, I was in the middle of
Mhm.
caring for my mom who
Oh,
has
yeah.
advanced Alzheimer's. And it made me realize that, oh my God, this would be amazing for people that were navigating the divorce process, specifically those on the other side of it,
Gotcha.
helping them redefine who they
Yeah,
are.
and that's really interesting from the whole program. I mean, here's the thing. For those that have any questions about the program, you should reach out to somebody. You can reach out to Mandy, you can reach out to me, and I can point you in the right direction, because there are so
Mhm.
many things that are useful, valuable tools that you can apply right away to these situations that can essentially be that life raft for you. And I know that
Yeah.
sounds dramatic, but you think about it. Divorce. it- what other thing can you think of that is that stressful, that traumatic in a married couple's life? That's a big one,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. It is a big one. And we realized that so when we launched the program within Vesta, we were focusing on
Okay.
the post-divorce life. But people were finding us that we're still kind of like in the throes or in the discerning phase. And we realized that it was actually perfect for them as well because they were able to decide, should I stay or should I go? And then they were able to make decisions like hiring an attorney,
Right.
finding a mediator, a financial person, et cetera, et cetera. And we've had so many success cases that just it
That's
makes
excellent.
me
So
very, very
you've
happy.
mentioned all those different professionals that are essentially on your team, your divorce team, as you're
Mhm.
going through that, or Vesta's team. I don't even know what you necessarily call it. Is that what you refer to as a hub? Okay.
Yes, yes. So within a hub, which we have scattered all over, our primary locations are in Massachusetts and California. We do have locations in New York and Pennsylvania, and we're looking to
All
expand to
right.
Chicago.
Very cool.
Yes. So
Yes.
get the
Yes.
guest room ready. And
Chicago.
and I know we want to be everywhere because word is spreading about our organization. And when people call and we don't, let's say, have a professional in that area, we lean on
Sure.
others
Sure.
that we may
And I
know.
can tell you, and this is not bullshit, I can tell you that I would have really liked to have had your
Mhm.
organization, when I was going through a divorce, because and one of my favorite phrases is, you don't know what you don't know. And there are so many things. I
Right.
mean, think about it when you go to get married, what you don't know. As far as, oh, I need this and I need this and I need this. And if you're going to have a wedding of any size, a hall, then you have to get the efficient, and you have to get all these different things, and you don't know. And some people get wedding planners, and some people
Right.
now, back then, back in the day, you could look at a book from the library, but nowadays you can get on the internet and all those things. But you don't know what you don't know. And what a blessing that would have been during that time, because you're so stressed out.
Mhm.
So let's say that you're working, right? How many people do you know that or have you heard of, they get in trouble with their employer when they're going through a divorce because they're distracted and they're having to field calls and they're in and out of meetings and things like that because they don't have somebody putting it all together and organizing it in such a way that you do this and then you do this and then you do this. Oh, but you don't jump ahead because this is going to cause a problem, a ripple. So, I mean, I would have loved to have had something like that because not that you
Absolutely.
don't have the responsibility, because obviously you're responsible because it's your life, but you have somebody rowing along with you. And I know for me, no family to help me out with it. No brothers or sisters, no anything. So, but it's just kind of, boy, that would have been nice. That's all I can say is, boy, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have really helped out.
I heard something the other day that you wouldn't renovate your kitchen without the proper contractors to do the,
Right.
the electrical, right? The painting, the plastering. And it's, it's so similar, when you go through a divorce, is that you want to have the right people doing the right job.
Essentially the GC, the general contractor, as it relates to a divorce. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Light bulb went on.
And then just going back, tying back to the concierge team, what is really lovely is when we create these relationships with individuals that call our service, and then we'll say, hey, I've stumbled upon this now. Can you help me figure out what my next best step is? And we really become their, confidants through the process. And
well, that's also
warms
an important piece of all of that, to have somebody that you can depend on, instead of, because every time you pick up the phone and your attorney picks up the phone, it's like a taxi cab meter. It's going, right? And that brings me to my next question, because anybody who's gone through a divorce, there's an expense associated with this, right? I mean, it's expensive. Can using Vesta actually save money or lower the costs, I guess, associated with the divorce?
Absolutely, because everyone is operating from their own lane during the process.
And what does that mean?
So your legal team is operating from, the legal side. Your financial team is operating from the financial lane, and your emotional team, right? So your coach, your therapist, is helping you manage your emotions, so that when you go to the negotiation table, you're going to the negotiation table with a clear mind and rational thinking, because you've sorted out your feelings around your divorce ahead of time. In addition, a divorce coach also has a very logical, strategic path as well, so that you can have all of your questions answered that your attorney asked you for your next session, so that you're prepared and you go in with your list that you've accomplished. And the cost of a divorce coach is a heck of a lot cheaper than the cost of an attorney.
I was just going to say, by the hourly rate is going to save you money by just being more concise and get to the point. And I was fortunate. But here's the thing that I can tell you too, as it relates to an attorney for a divorce. Oftentimes you get what you pay for too with that, right? Because if you're going to if you can afford it, get the best attorney you can afford, because it will end up saving you in the long run, I suppose, if you do that. And I'm not an attorney, and I'm not giving legal advice by saying that. I'm going again from my experience, and I was very pleased with what my attorneys did for me. But at any rate, so you had mentioned success stories warming your heart, is there any one in particular that comes to mind that you go, okay, every time I hear this, I tell somebody this story, it just makes me happy that I'm doing this, or feel, satisfied that I'm doing this?
Yeah, so I have to say that my greatest success story is when I answer the phone and somebody says, "Hi, I'm Jane Doe, and Susie Q said that you were amazing and helped her get to the other side of her divorce. Can you help me?" To me, that's a success story because someone used our services, got themselves educated, worked with our team, got to the other side, and are now telling their friends about our
That's
resources.
great, because I can tell you, and you're probably aware of this too, it takes somebody about 2 seconds to put something bad out on the internet, or, a bad review, because everybody is so quick and so willing to do that, but
Mhm.
they're not as willing to give a positive review, because that takes time to do that.
Right.
Whereas they don't realize it's the same amount of time, same amount of energy, everything, to give
Right.
something, someone or some business a positive review. So that's that's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And we also, a lot of people find us through their own therapists.
Okay.
So people that are not connected to Vesta, they have clients that have decided that divorce is the right way to go, and the therapist will say, then you
Okay.
need to call Vesta so that you can have, an
So you
amicable
had
divorce.
mentioned at the very beginning some different events, um, meetings, seminars, webinars type of thing. Is okay. So webinars, we know how that's done. Are you doing face to face too, or is it primarily webinar?
Yeah, this was, I guess, a blessing and a curse of COVID. When we founded back in 2013, everything was in person. So this idea or this concept of a hub
Mhm.
was really important because you were going to your
Right.
local hub. So if you lived in the South Shore of Massachusetts, you were going to the Hingham hub. If you lived in, west of Boston, you were going to our Westboro Mass hub. And, COVID made all that go away because everything became online. So you could
Right.
just attend
Yeah, you
any
had to
event that
pivot
you'd like to
for that,
attend.
right? Yeah.
You had to pivot, exactly. And we have tried to go back to our in person model, but people just like the privacy
I
of
get that.
webinars because yeah, their anonymity. I mean, they're protected. Nobody sees them. Nobody sees their name. They don't know if they're 1 in 50 or just the
Right.
only
Right.
one on the
And
webinar.
because of the emotion too, right?
But
Because
we do.
I mean, let's say if somebody does become emotional in the process, they don't, they can turn off their camera, or, what have you. So they're not self-conscious about crying in front of a bunch of people that they don't know, or, if they're whatever, and I'm just thinking that obviously it brings out those emotions too. It's not just anger that that divorce
Uh,
brings out, or frustration.
oh, of course,
It's
of
sadness.
course. But I do have to say, there is something magical about being in person when you have there's an entire divorce team there, including a coach or a therapist that can help you walk through those feelings in real
Yeah,
time. There is
I
something
can see
special
that.
about it. And but but we're able to spread our message wider and faster by
Sure.
having it via.
And well, I mean, I think to that end, or to that point, is when you're able to do the virtual meetings and seminars and things of that
Mhm.
nature, it really takes the geographical restrictions out of the equation, which then does
Mhm.
allow you to have that outreach. Because, like you had mentioned, coming to Chicago, well, you don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar office or building or what have you in
Right.
Chicago to be able to have the ability to help or advise and coach people through their process. In Chicago, you don't need that because you're able to do it
Mm,
remotely or via Zoom or whatever vehicle you use, or platform you use,
right,
excuse me.
right. It Yeah, it does become important when you're talking about the legal component of it, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
one thing that we see people get tripped up on is if someone from Massachusetts decides to go to an event in California. Well, the laws
Right.
are very different, and they're going to hear different information, and they're going to call me and say,
What
"Hey,
about
Mandy,
this? Yeah. Right.
this is
Right.
what I heard," right? Well, that's because that's California law. So if
Right.
right, right. And then, of course, we do have our real estate section, which falls
Oh,
under the
very nice.
financial
Yeah.
component of our business, and that obviously is specific to
Cool.
the location. But you're right, we don't necessarily have to
That's
have a
nice.
brick and
Well, I mean, that
mortar location.
again, that allows for maximum outreach and benefit to people, as far as I can tell. So
Absolutely.
I was thinking, and sometimes I'll ask people, what would the today Mandy ask the younger Mandy, and that doesn't necessarily apply in this, but what may apply in this is there
Mhm.
something that where you are right now with the company 5 years into it that you would have liked to have had earlier, looking back, or you could have incorporated or brought in earlier?
I think that within these, specifically in the space of coaching or therapy, there are so many niche disciplines, right? And really becoming aware and educating myself on assorted. So, for instance, we just brought in somebody to our organization, and she is a
Oh, okay,
teen
cool.
coach. So, when we met her, we're like, gosh, of course, our teens, because we have parent coaches, but the parent coaches really are helping the parents on how to
Sure.
communicate to the children, tell the children mom and dad are getting divorced or whatever it may be. But her role is specifically to help these teens navigate these big emotions between mom and dad getting
Right,
divorced,
right,
or
right.
mom and dad and dad, whatever it may be,
Parents, right.
whatever the
And
family
that's
looks
an
like.
important thing. And that's a difficult conversation to have. Man. Yeah, so that's good to have somebody to bounce
Yeah.
something off of or
Yeah.
give some ideas or some direction. I think that's fantastic. That's a fantastic thing to offer.
Yeah. Yeah. In addition, we have added
Ooh,
career coaches, or people, or because we have a lot of stay-at-home parents now all of a
right.
sudden need to go back to work, and how do they translate 18 years of being a
Right.
stay-at-home mom or dad into, getting back into the workforce? So it's having these specialties really that we have found is
Mm,
such a valuable
That
resource
transition could
to
be
our
very
community.
difficult because that's my primary position or profession has been for 28 years. Talent acquisition, recruiting, personnel. So yeah, that transition, and I see it, and I've seen it, believe it or not, more frequently after COVID than before, where people
Oh,
were transitioning. They transitioned out of the workforce with being parents, stay-at-home parents, or what have you, for whatever reason, taking care of their parents that may have been elderly and or ill and passed, and now they're ready to transition back into that. So to have somebody again, to have somebody assist you with that is in my opinion, is a fantastic thing.
yeah. I feel very, very fortunate because I, for a couple of years, worked part-time with Vesta so I could care for my
Right.
mom who
Very
we
nice.
moved into our home. As you know,
Yeah.
I'm remarried, and I know, crazy me, right? And just kidding. Um, and I was very lucky that when mom had to transition into a skilled nursing facility that, there was an opportunity for me to grow within the organization and
That's
continue
great.
to do
That's
what I
great.
love.
So is there anything else that you'd like to add before we transition? Speaking of transition, we transition into the next segment of the podcast.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I want to add is just give your listeners the reassurance that we have done a thorough job in vetting
Thank
out
you.
the professionals that are
Thank you. I
part
meant
of
to ask
the
you that.
organization.
I totally meant to ask you that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we, in addition to doing background checks and, checking their resources, they need to attend a seminar to learn more about the organization to really make sure that their values are in alignment with
That's
ours.
huge. Yeah.
Because we don't want people coming thinking that, oh, they're going to get
Yeah.
X amount
Book
of
a business, so to speak. Yeah.
fee.
Right.
Right. It's that, what needs to be first is their desire to serve this community and to do right by these individuals because they are in such a vulnerable state, emotional state. And, by doing good, their
And
business
we
will
talked
come.
about that in previous conversations, and just in general, I would say that there are people that are opportunistic or opportunists as it relates to the emotions
Yes.
that are going on, and we can go the full cycle of life when somebody is ready to have a baby, and you go into these really expensive baby furniture stores. Don't you want your baby to
Right.
have the coolest crib, the most beautiful this, and the warmed changing table, and then of course the wipes, the wipe warmer? Who I mean, yeah,
But who
I
wouldn't
was just
like a
gonna
wife
say,
warm? I mean,
talk about, especially if, like, I have three sons, and yeah, the old cold wipe will usually get that little jolt. I remember that. That was, and I just laugh. I think it was amusing, but obviously thankfully they don't have any recollection of
yeah.
me
Yeah.
laughing with a cold wipe. But anyway,
Yes.
anyway,
I just want to give two quick examples. If you meet with one of our professionals and they don't think that you need to hire them, they will tell you. One of our financial advisors, and I hear this because, in my follow-up calls as the concierge, hey, how was your call with, Anthony or Pratik or insert professional? And they'll say, you know what? They said I didn't need to hire them because my case is very clear cut, or they don't. And to me, that
sure,
makes me so
not
happy
gouging somebody.
because I'm putting right, because I'm also putting my reputation every time I, refer somebody to
Sure,
another professional, and
that's
that
good.
gives me
That's good.
comfort.
I like that. I like that because, as I said, there's the opportunists in the world,
Right.
and they do take advantage of you. They totally take advantage of you. I remember somebody
Yeah.
when my mom passed, one of the funeral directors, yeah, because I was totally distraught when she passed because it was sudden in a car accident, and
Yeah.
selling me some $400 vase that was this little single flower vase, and I was just like, yeah, that's great because it matches the urn, and all of those things, and before you know it, it was a small fortune, but anyway,
Mhm.
so as far
Yeah.
as being able to get in touch with you, there's an 800 number, or there's a local number. What do you have that number off the
Yes.
top of your head?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have it off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
I
why don't
can
we
send it
plan
to
on
you.
this, because I'm assuming that there are links to different
Absolutely.
videos or upcoming events or something like that maybe we could get not only the phone number, and I do know that it's an 877 number. I should have written it down myself, and so I had it to provide you with, listeners, but I didn't.
It is 877-355-6955. 7649.
Fantastic. And what I will do is I will put this information in the show notes so you'll be able to access that. Should you be in the market, or you have a need for somebody, or you just want to talk to somebody to make sure it's the right move, because if you don't have that person, that trusted advisor, and that's what it seems like this is a situation where you can have a trusted advisor on the other end of the phone. I'll put it in there for everyone. So, well, you're so welcome.
Thank you.
Well, as anyone knows who's listened to our show before, this is where we start asking the musical questions. And this is pillar 4. And as I always say, music is the tie that binds. And everyone, and I mean everyone, has a soundtrack accompanying their lives if they just stop and take a moment to think about it. So here we go. Are you ready? Fantastic.
I'm ready.
What was the first song you fell in love with from the radio?
Oh my gosh. I was totally in love with the Go-Go's. I thought they were just as cool as shit. Their big hair, their 80s, colorful clothes.
Well, I was just going to ask you. Okay, so the Go-Go's got... can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. That was, I mean, talk about mascots for the 80s, man, the Go-Go's. Wow. Yeah, that was it. The other question that I ask in this, the streak is still alive, by the way, at number 11, not being a repeat song, the Go-Go's. Nobody's come up with the Go-Go's. So for the second question, I always ask, did your family have a song that everyone would just belt out on the road trips in the family truckster?
Yes, we took a road trip down to Washington, D.C. to see the Beach Boys on Magazine. What is it? Magazine Park or Magazine?
Oh, okay.
The lawn.
Okay.
And the song Barbara Ann. So that was definitely the family theme song for a while.
The Beach Boys in summer, man. Yeah, there used to, so here in the Chicagoland area, and I know it was a national thing, but on the 4th of July, there would always be, it was on WLS, AM and FM, later with FM, that they would have the Beach Boys for the 4th of July. And I would listen to that, and man, I love that. I love that. That just brings back some memories, man, for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my my parents divorced while I was in high school, but as a kid, that was definitely one of my favorite memories, being outside 4th of July, Washington, D.C., listening.
That's a great memory.
It was awesome.
That's a great. So in high school, everybody has anthems, right? So I'd be really curious to know what your high school anthem was.
Well, spoiler alert, as you know, I posted that on Facebook. I know. And, you know, as we saying Clarity Catalyst, Yak, you always know. I knew in my heart I wanted to say the Soup Dragons. I'm free to do it.
No, that's good, because I didn't know who the hell that was. So now I do. Now I'm free. What do I want?
But I have to say, though, like, in thinking about it, I got such awesome suggestions from friends. And since, like, preparing for the musical part of this, I have heard every single song on the radio talk about the law of attraction.
Isn't it crazy, though? I mean, it is totally crazy that you start thinking about that and you go, gosh, what was that? What was that? And all of a sudden, boom, it comes up, and then boom and boom, and it just keeps coming. That's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So I want to tell you why that song just was so powerful to me, because I remember driving in my girlfriend's like orange VW Bug, and we would listen to that on the way to school. And also, I remember being at Toad's in New Haven, and I wasn't really supposed to be in New Haven, and hearing them play. and just dancing. And I think I was dancing by myself. I don't even know. But I just remember that
That's
feeling
cool.
of freedom and that feeling of like just being outside of myself, and I didn't care what anyone was thinking about me or
Well,
anything
I'm
around
telling
me. It
on
was
you
just
right
awesome.
now, and this is out there. You were a lawbreaker. I'm assuming that meant there was underage drinking. Is that what you're referring to?
There might have been a little bit, just a little bit. Maybe.
I can neither
It's a
confirm
good
nor
kid
deny
loose.
that, sir.
I was
Well, I
mostly
mean,
a
it's just
kid.
like a few episodes ago, as my buddy Dave was telling you, waxing on about, well, this AI thing, and I was at a stoplight, and I look at my phone, and I type something in, and like, what did you say? You're okay.
Oh.
Oh no, maybe I was in a parking lot. Yeah, okay, dude. Nice try. You're texting, driving, jacking around on your phone. Yeah. He was caught.
But
I did.
you made a
Yes,
citizen's arrest
yes.
if I
That
don't.
was a citizen's
Yeah.
arrest, and I'm going to be on the lookout for him on the roadways. But he'll probably be the one that everybody's honking at because he's staring at his phone. The dope. No, I'm just teasing. He's not. Anyway, so did your musical taste change after high school when you were in college?
They only changed for like a minute because I couldn't get into any like fun bars.
Just
So it was
Toads?
like techno music. We would go,
When you
yeah,
were like
just Toads.
15?
Just Toads. But I didn't actually really like the music. I just apparently liked the
Who can
underage
blame you?
drinking and dancing. But I know. But it was like 80s music all the way through college. Yeah, it was after college my music taste started to change a little. I got into a little bit, so I was like Dave Matthews and Pink Floyd.
That was after?
And more I was a late
No, Dave Matthews I can see, but Pink Floyd, man. Pink Floyd's been around for a long time. I think it was like 1980 or something like that for The Wall. Do you realize? I think it was.
Again.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that's okay. I like you. You're okay. You're kind of okay.
You're in my circle. You're not going anywhere.
Tight, but so I also asked a question about hype songs, and these have been kind of different too. What are your top 5 hype songs?
Well, we share one, which is Katrina in the Waves, Walking on Sunshine. Oh, man. Nothing turns my mood around more than just like dancing silly around that song. Listening to that song. It makes me so happy.
That's a good way to start your day.
My next, yeah. And then my next hype song is Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
Yep. And I will say to my son, I'm like, got the Eye of the Tiger? We ready to go? Let's do this. Get it done.
Balboa.
And then, yep. And if Eye of the Tiger isn't cutting it and I need like a little bit more like gas in the tank, I have to say Eminem. I think it's Lose Yourself. Yeah. That one shout.
Yeah. That's a good one. And and I had mentioned to you before, because I send these questions out to everybody ahead of time, and I said, oh, this is one, Lose Yourself, because I know some of the Eminem songs, and as a matter of fact, this is on one that was a highlight tape for my oldest boy for football when he was young. But it's like, this is one when he's threw up his mom's spaghetti on his sweatshirt or something, and you're like, I don't know anything about that, and I'm almost positive that he references From the Nerves throwing up his mom's spaghetti on his clothes.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But it's one of those songs that like just make like I don't listen to the words so much as it just makes me feel. It's like a visceral feeling. Yeah. Like we're gonna just fucking get it done. I like
that song. Anything else on your list?
Yes. Bon Jovi. It's my life.
This ain't a song.
I know.
Broken hearted. Yeah.
Broken heart.
This ain't a song for the broken hearted. Yes. My band played that. That was our opening song all the time. Yeah, every show. That was a good song.
I know that it is a good song, and I know that you also told me that there's also
with my ex-wife saying, this is going to be my anthem, my theme song. It's my life. I'm never going to. I was like, okay, see ya. She ruined the song.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly.
I've been a Bon Jovi fan from the beginning. Right. So I'm at UIC Pavilion, open up for the Scorpions, and that was with Bon Jovi with Roulette, Runaway, all of those songs. And I mean, and yeah, she just, I had to turn my back on her for a little while, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I think I've seen Bon Jovi 8 times in concert.
Yeah, you got me beat.
Something obscene.
I've only seen him like 3 times.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
And like Richie Sambora.
Richie Sambora is
yummy.
Pretty cool dude. Actually, one of my buddies, his name's Joe Frasca, and I was thinking about him this morning in maybe trying to get him on the podcast. He is the lead singer and one of the founders for a local group here called Bad Medicine. They are a Bon Jovi tribute band, and they've been together for like 20 something years, and they are so good. I mean, they are so good, and they've actually performed. Yeah. They've opened up for Bon Jovi. Here's a Bon Jovi cover band opening up for Bon Jovi, and yeah, that was really cool. So he said they got to hang out with them and stuff like that. It was very, very cool. Cool guy too.
Yeah. I had a stroke. I mean, this was a number of years back, but the first time I was listening to a classic rock station and Bon Jovi came on, I'm like, whoa, I am not emotionally ready for them to be.
Yeah, no. That's I'm still not.
I've moved on from that, but and then my last song on my hype list
is a good one. I like that one. That's a good one. That's classic. So yeah, I'm going to break this down to be one song, because normally I have it to be a 5-song list, that if you could have somebody listen to the song or the lyrics to change the world, what would that one song be?
Imagine.
That's a great choice for that. That's a great choice. I haven't had that one come up yet, so that's kind of cool. I like that one. So here's the other one that I've been asking, and it's been just a fantastic thing to hear what somebody has to say about this, because there are songs that that ring so true in somebody's life that just stop you in your tracks, because it's like they were written specifically for you, or that you wrote them yourself. What's the song, and what are the lyrics that do that to you?
Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind. And because I feel that my whole life I've been seeking something, looking for answers, questioning everything. And the words, it's like, just be quiet and listen.
Be
it's
still.
It's blowing in the wind.
That's
yeah. I told my niece that that's the song I want played at my celebration of life. We were talking about it for my mom, and then I had heard that on the radio, and I was like, that.
You're a
and
real mood booster there, Mandy. And when I die, play this song. Yeah.
I don't want anyone to fuck up my celebration of life. What can I say?
No. And actually, it's funny. So you and I had talked about this before. This goes back months ago. We were talking about it in one of the class sessions that we were in, the sidebars, and I had asked we were talking about country music, and I said Lee Brice because I'd seen Lee Brice, and I thought Lee Brice was an amazing artist. He's a great songwriter, performer, just incredible. And he has a song that's "Save the Roses" is the name of the song, and and I said I told my boys, just like in passing, the song was on, and I said, "Hey, when I die, play this song," and they're like, "What?" And my younger two boys are like, "What's wrong?" They think because I'm bringing up, when I die, play this song, that I'm gonna die or something. Dad, are you okay? No, I'm fine. I'm just saying, I love this song because he's saying, think about me doing the things that we did together and we love together, not the guy that's in front of you in this box. Don't think about this guy. Think about that guy that was there. And he said, I've got an incredible view from where I'm at. You just go do you. And it's such a great song. And Save the Roses, fantastic. So, well, I've got to say, I hate for this to come to an end, but we're at that point, and it's just about time to cue the music for today's episode. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Drop the Needle podcast to stay up to date on our latest episodes. I'd also like to take a moment to thank everyone again for tuning in today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Drop the Needle podcast. I'd also like to send out a very, very big thank you to our special guest, Miss Mandy Pullen Barr, for joining us today. And I invite you to head on over to the show notes where there's a link so you can get the playlist, but you can also get the information that we were talking about from Vesta, their phone number, as well as links to their other programs that they have. All right, my Drop the Needle posse, like Billy Joel says, from the highs to the lows to the end of the show, this is the end of our show. Until next time, this is Jim Allstott wishing you infinite health and happiness and the perfect playlist for your life. Thank you again for being the best part of us. Catch you next time.